think we're live.
Are we live? Hello, world.
Hello, world. We're going to wait until we have at least a singular viewer.
One viewer. That's all we ask. Is that too much to ask, Fernando? Is one viewer too much to ask?
Still no viewers. Wow.
Yeah, I'm on the stream from the other side, and I see one viewer from the Facebook side.
Oh, it's just Matthew.
Oh, it's Matthew?
Yeah,
okay.
Matthew works for us, ladies.
Well, we can hang out.
2 viewers. Okay, hi viewers. We're almost there. Let's say we get 5.
Okay, we can do 5.
5? 5.
Yeah. Okay, I see 2 people.
Wow.
Is it still people who are paid to be here? Because that's not ideal. That's not the best.
Come on. 3
stuff. We got 3?
We got 3. We got 3.
It's getting crowded in here, guys. Make sure that you got 6 feet between you.
5. Here we go.
5 people. Okay, that's what we said.
This is Daisy. She's our 17-year-old rescue, and her owner surrendered her to the veterinarian because she couldn't walk anymore. And the vet gave us a call, and we rescued her, brought her to our rescue farm here. We took her off all of her prescription medications. She was having seizures every day, grand mal seizures. She had no hair on her feet, on her tail. And we have her on a CBD regimen, and she has come back alive. She's become puppy-like. She runs around and plays, and she could live to be 20 years old and live a very long, happy, pain-free life. CBD Dog Health, healing naturally.
Nah.
I've seen that video, have you?
Yeah, of course.
I'm joking.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can recite that video.
Me too.
Hello, Daisy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show.
We say this is Daisy.
This is Daisy. And if you're watching, I'm not mocking you. It is all in love.
I was actually around when Daisy first got to us, and it was, I mean, so the owner surrendered her to a veterinarian to be put down, and the veterinarian wasn't sure it was time yet. And the veterinarian had heard about this crazy cannabis lady around trying some things. So she called Angie and said, I have this dog who's having grand mal seizures, and do you want to take her and see what you can do? And she took her in, and she was having, like, it's the first time I've ever seen a dog have a seizure before.
Mm-hmm.
And never want to see it again.
Yeah.
She was having like literally 3 grand mal seizures a day. It looked painful, it looked awful. She'd pass out. It was just terrible.
Yeah. And then the aftermath is awful too. Then they come to, and sometimes they're okay, but oftentimes they're disoriented and weakened and in rough shape for a long time.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we started her CBD regimen. We got her off, slowly tapered her off of the other medications, got her on the right food. And for 8 months, we didn't see a single seizure. We missed 1 dose, and the next day she had a seizure. But I got to see, like, from the beginning, I mean, I didn't think there was a chance in hell she was going to survive. And she's not with us anymore, but she lived an amazing last, year and a half, 2 years with us on the farm, seizure-free, pain-free, was running. It was crazy. And
not only didn't have seizures, but then like had a complete turnaround in her, just like quality of life, that her presence of mind, that she, like, her eyes became less cloudy. She was able to focus on you more and like interact more. She wasn't getting lost in corners. So not only did it stop the seizures, but it helped her brain kind of be more connected and vibrant.
There was definitely some doggy dementia going on there that it was definitely helping with as well. Yeah, she would get lost in corners all the time and not look at us in the eyes. And she was feisty, 16. And like, I was scared to give her food because I was scared my finger was going to get bit off. Like I liked her, I respected her, and I gave her space.
My family dog growing up, actually, he had a ton of seizures, and once he got older, he started having seizures all the time. Yeah. And, you know, because we were doing, I didn't know then what I know now. We were doing like all the things that you're supposed to do with your dog, you know, all the vaccinations, all the flea and tick medications every year until that he was like 11, 12 years old. And then kind of out of nowhere, he started having pretty intense seizures on the regular. And like, I just saw the way it degenerated his health. Every time it happened to him, it took a little bit away from his energy and his vitality. It was really scary.
And you know what's even scarier is that there's this thing called CBD that's been used for seizures since 1881, and we're all kind of like, excuse me, Carter, we're working.
I'm sorry, I'm very popular.
CBD's been around, known to stop seizures since 1881, and here we are in 2021, teaching people about it because it's been kept from us for so long. It's crazy.
1821. Even way before that, I was reading this book that was talking about how in Chinese herbal medicine, thousands of years ago, the kind of like grandfather of Chinese medicine, Su, I think his name is, he used it as an anti-epileptic. So it's like, it is many, many eons old as a powerful anti-epileptic agent. And finally, we're getting to be able to use it again, studying it, understanding what is the best means of applying it and how it works best. So we have a really great alternative to some of the traditional therapies that present side effects and have other things that make it less beneficial, but and
not always effective.
Yeah, not always.
And every dog's gonna be different, even to CBD and different cannabinoid ratios. It's just nice having an alternative option for sure. Susan says, I'm trying to adopt a dog who has seizures, so this will be really helpful. Awesome, Susan. If you have any specific questions when we start our rant, please feel free.
Hi, Chloe. Hello, Susan.
Hello,
Marie. Heidi.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming.
Yes. Cool. So today we're going to talk a little bit about epilepsy and seizures, what they are, what they look like, how CBD can help, a little bit about phenobarbital, the common prescribed medication, and maybe some good food options as well. So let's get started. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Ow! It's going well. It's going well here.
Cool. Well, let's start with epilepsy. So it's important to know that just because you have a seizure does not mean you have epilepsy, right? So epilepsy is actually the most common neurological disorder found in dogs. It's a abnormal amount of neuron activity going around in the brain. And that's usually caused by things like tumors and strokes and head injuries, right? Mm-hmm. Epilepsy is also categorized to be 2 or more seizures. So seizures come from epilepsy, but you can have a one-time seizure that's caused by like toxins, like flea and tick medication. That is not considered epilepsy. It is just a seizure in that moment. And then there's, of course, idiopathic seizures, which is, we have no idea where it comes from. And that's generally probably genetic. There's a lot of dogs that are really prone to it. And it looks like they can get, the dogs that are genetic to it, I didn't know this, can get it from up to 6 months of age.
Wow.
That's so sad.
That's wild. It's hard, especially with those young dogs, because until we started using cannabis medicine and CBD more, the anti-epileptic drugs like phenobarbital, Keppra, it's really bad to be using those with young dogs. That's kind of one of the things that even they will recommend you don't do, because of the way that it suppresses neuronal energy in the brain. It can stop development. It can be really bad for the development of their brain. So when you have a really young dog that's seizing already, before people were kind of like, well, what do we do? The trade-offs were terrible.
Totally. The flea and tick aspect of it, flea and tick medication aspect is pretty crazy. I remember I first had Blanche years ago. She had fleas, and I was getting ready to get her on flea and tick medication because that's what I was told. And Angie said, absolutely not, and kind of explained it to me a little bit. So you want to talk about this a little bit, Carter?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a little nifty kind of thing that I saw here. And this is not the case for all dogs. You know, not all dogs, because you put them on a flea and tick medication, are they going to start having seizures. But what we see is that the information that we've received from the studies that have been done on this, it's all short-term studies. And so the longer and longer you use it, the more prone to side effects these things are. So basically how flea and tick medication works is these isoconazoles. I can't pronounce I don't know how to pronounce that, but basically it builds up concentration in the blood and then is found in high concentrations in the skin, where the fleas come and feed on the blood of your animal. And this toxin basically blocks neural channels in their body, chloride receptors in the ticks' bodies, and paralyzes them, and eventually that kills them. So the idea is that this is supposed to be kind of specific to flea chloride channels, but it is, it is a toxin and a poison meant to kill these tiny beings. So over time, it's not good for mammals either. Even though it's specifically to kill these bugs, putting pesticides and chemicals that are meant to kill in your animal's body, it's not a good thing. So over time, these things can build up and kind of do the same things. We see kind of just like a different scale of that kind of muscle paralysis and kind of like blocking of energy channels in the central nervous system, which then causes those kinds of muscle spasms and possibly seizures that we often see. And like I said, it's not like A plus B equals C, like your dog is always going to have seizures if this is going on. But if you've got a dog that's already prone to that, if you've got King Charles Spaniels or German Shepherds or one of these breeds that is prone to seizures, Australian Shepherds get them a lot. You're just adding kind of one more element in there that could lead to an event. And
there are natural alternatives as well. I know we just posted a blog there that our founder Angie wrote. So if there's a natural alternative for something like flea and ticks, it's definitely something to look into. I know it's something that I'll always do because I don't want to take the risk. I know it's not always going to happen, but there is a risk, and it happens more than it needs to, I think.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Fernando.
That's okay. Do you want to talk about a little bit about what the different kinds of seizures? I'm trying to bring this guy up so people can see. Yeah, so there's different kinds of seizures. There's generalized, also called grand mal seizures. And this involves the entire brain, both hemispheres. Mm-hmm. And this is like the classic seizure that we see. There's focal seizures, which does not result in unconsciousness, and it's usually in just half or part of the brain. And then there's the myoclonic seizures, which I didn't know anything about until recently. Mm-hmm. You know a little bit about that?
Yeah, these oftentimes, your dog may be having a seizure. It could be a myoclonic seizure that is not even perceptible. Like it's just barely perceptible because it can be affecting just a very small part of the brain. So for instance, I've seen your dog Blanche sometimes, like she'll just kind of like be there, like tweaking out a little bit. Like she's present, but there's just kind of like you can tell that something's happening. Her motor function is a little off. She's no longer present. And this can be a sign that a dog is suffering from either a focal seizure or a myoclonic seizure. And
those can build up to eventually become grand mal seizures.
Yeah, over time.
So those are like those little twitches that you see in your dogs. It's something to really notice and look into, because if it's happening more often than not, then maybe it's a good time to start implementing something like CBD, just to kind of slow down that degenerative disease.
Absolutely. Anne-Marie asked, do seizures fry the brain? That's what my vet said, and I'm allowing to happen if I don't give her a prescription. So I said, nope, I'll stick with my CBD. Honestly, I can't really speak to this super specifically, but when I've talked to Zach, Dr. Zach, the chief veterinarian of CBD Dog Health, what he said is sometimes it can cause further structural damage, but many times it is just kind of like sparking wires. It's not necessarily really causing a whole lot of damage, but it can be very traumatic for them. It can really affect their energy. It can just kind of set their whole being off balance. There are cases where it is causing damage. Oftentimes not. It really is kind of case by case, because as we were talking about, there's so many different types of seizures. So it really is it depends on what your dog's going through.
Yeah, for sure. Any questions, anybody, about the different kinds of seizures? Or I mean, it's a pretty basic conversation about it. Obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but
yeah. Susan says, I had a golden retriever who started seizing at 6 months. She was on phenobarbital her whole life. She lived to 11. Wow.
Just waiting for CBD. Yeah, I want to stress the fact that there's always a time and a place for medications like phenobarbital, but CBD won't work for everybody. Phenobarbital won't work for everybody.
Right.
While phenobarbital does have some pretty toxic, possibly toxic side effects, as long as we're keeping the quality of life while we have them, and keeping those seizures away, if it's working, if that's what's working, that's awesome. I just want people to know that there's an alternative that might work just as well, if not better, without any side effects. But if phenobarbital is what's keeping your babe happy and pain-free and seizure-free and keeping them alive, then amazing.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about phenobarbital for a minute, since we're on the topic?
Let's get there, because let's dive a little bit about CBD and how it helps.
Cool.
So the reason CBD helps anything related to CBD is because of our endocannabinoid system, which every mammal has, every vertebrate, every invertebrate has. And dogs are kind of special when it comes to endocannabinoid system. Carter, you're better than I am at explaining a little bit about endocannabinoid system.
So just as like a basic definition for anybody out there who's kind of new to this conversation, and here's this big multi-syllable word, endocannabinoid system.
Learn how to say.
It's a bit, it took a while. Basically, the endocannabinoid system was discovered while they were researching the effects of THC on the body. So it sounds like it's just for cannabis, but the endocannabinoid system exists innately in our body. Our body naturally produces chemicals that work with it. And what its primary function is to balance the function of various systems within the body so that they're operating at a state of homeostasis, which means a state of balance. So say your immune system is overactive, you're having an allergy attack. The endocannabinoid system, the places in the receptors will create, there will be chemicals created by your body that bind to those receptors that tell the immune system to chill out. And that exists through all through your body's various systems, through your cardiovascular system, through your central nervous system, in your brain, where it can moderate issues like seizures. And Hernando, you found this study recently about the endocannabinoid system and receptors in the brain of patients with seizures.
Yeah. Yeah, a really cool thing to note about the endocannabinoid system is, it's responsible for homeostasis, right, in all of our bodies. And what we're finding is that the endocannabinoid system knows when and where there's an issue. And if there is an issue in that specific area, let's say the brain, the CB1 and CB2 receptors kind of start flooding to that part of the body to try to help. The problem is that our body doesn't always produce enough of these natural endocannabinoids to help the situation, which is when something like cannabis, CBD, comes in as a phytocannabinoid and mimics those natural endocannabinoids to help. So if there is a seizure and there's this uncontrolled activity in the brain, and all these receptors start flooding up there, CBD comes in and helps those receptors work even better. There was an awesome study that I'll read to you guys now. So the two of the most well-known natural endocannabinoids are called anandamide and 2-AG. And it said this: in acutely seizing animals, the endocannabinoid 2-AG was significantly increased compared to controls. By testing the levels of both anandamide and 2-AG, we have seen that both are synthesized on demand when seizures occur, thus activating the CB1 receptors. It also appears that there is a significant increase in CB1 receptor expression in epileptic animals, a receptor increase that is prolonged and probably permanent.
Right.
That's crazy. So these animals that are having seizures, we're finding have more receptors in their brain than animals that don't have seizures, because the endocannabinoid system knows it needs help and it's trying to fix the problem. And that's where CBD comes in.
So these very roots that we're using, CBD and other cannabinoids, to target seizures, the body is naturally doing this before we ever introduce this plant medicine. We're boosting those effects that are naturally occurring within the body to fight back seizures and other chronic disorders like this.
It's crazy.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And really awesome for dogs, actually, specifically dogs. And I'll pull something up for you guys. Oh, you know what? Before we continue, we're doing a giveaway.
Oh yeah, there's a giveaway.
Right. We're gonna put a link there. Sign up. Put your email in. We'll choose a winner that will get a tincture of Heal, our most potent tincture. It's 1,100 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, MCT from cocoa therapy, and hemp seed oil. So we'll put the link.
Make sure you sign up. Hello, Susan Robinson. Make sure you sign up. Ooh, Susan has 3 rescued Cavalier King Charles. Ooh.
Am I right in thinking that CBD would be helpful here with seizures? I use Heal and Ease on 2 of them for multiple issues. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I would do the Heal. I think we're finding that seizures, we'll talk about dosing, but we're finding seizures might need a little bit more of a higher dose. So that's my preference there. But yeah, awesome that you have these 3 babies, and I'm glad you're taking care of them with this.
Oh my gosh, the photo's so cute.
Where's their photo?
Well, with the comment that came up, Susan got one of them as her profile picture there.
Cute.
So cute. So cute.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that what's really, really amazing, and I'm going to share this right now, is that in studies, so like I said before, all animals, including us, have this endocannabinoid system. And within that endocannabinoid system, we have receptors that CB1 and CB2 interact, that CBD and THC and all the cannabinoids interact with. Some studies are showing that actually dogs have even more receptors than we do, than really any other animal that we've done studies on. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see, you see my hair?
See your what? No. No.
I'm circling it.
Yeah. So what you're looking at here, you see on the right-hand side of that image where those kind of like squiggly lines are darker than on the left. It says the right side is dog, the left side is human. Where the image is darker, that's showing a higher density of cannabinoid receptors, of CB receptors. So where there are more receptors, there's more sites that CBD can bind onto and instruct the body to help balance out. Yeah. So dogs are more sensitive. They are more receptive to this medicine. They have more receptors. This is in the brain of a healthy dog, which kind of explains some of the effects that we see with dogs. The difference in the way that they react to CBD and other cannabinoids compared to humans. They're much, much more reactive. Yeah, which is why a little goes a long way with them. And this is why also they don't generally need as much THC. That's why that 0.3% that's legal is awesome until we're talking about cancer, and then you can use some more, but they're sensitive to it. So a little goes a long way. If I didn't love dogs enough, like they're also better for cannabis. Come on. Yeah. Hi, Cindy. Anne Marie says, hey guys, can you please tell me what dose of Ease does 153, I'm assuming pound human take? Anne Marie, it's just like dogs. It is about our body sensitivity and our body's need. It's a little bit of trial and error. So, start small and increase until you find what works for you. Best thing for humans is to put it under your tongue, let it sit there for about 2 minutes. The more it absorbs and the less you swallow, the better. Yeah,
Yeah.
I find for myself personally, like if I get above 20 milligrams a day, then I start getting a little sleepy. I'm super sensitive to it, so that's very different for other people. So just trial and error, just like you did with your dogs, and figure out kind of what feels good for you.
Yeah. There's a website called healer.com.
Mhm.
Amazing
Sulak.
physician, Dr. Sulak. He's a cannabis. I mean, man, this guy's incredible. And he has kind of like a dosing protocol about how to find your most like optimal dose. This is for humans, so that you're using as little as possible to get the best effects. So healer.com, HEALER. They're amazing. Big.
Yeah, great organization.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about CBD specifically for seizures.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
A CBD, the reason we're even here talking about CBD, it's not healercbd.com. I think it's just healer.com. So the reason we're even here talking about CBD and the reason it's gotten so much attention is because of this incredible little girl named Charlotte Fiji, who was having hundreds and hundreds of seizures, I think even thousands of seizures a week. Young girl, heartbreaking. And Sanjay Gupta did a documentary on her and her journey with cannabis stopping her seizures. And before her, the little cannabis that there was all being bred for THC, because everybody just knew it as this thing, let's get high, let's get high, let's get high, let's get high. No one really understood the purpose of CBD. And when they were looking for someone to grow a high CBD strain, they thought they were crazy. They were, who's going to buy this? Not only does it not get you high, it actually takes away the high effects from THC. So
Right.
Why? And because Sanjay Gupta did this amazing documentary and put so much the spotlight on her and showed her incredible progress using this natural plant when she had no or very little success using medication, it kind of blew up. And she was the pioneer, whether she knew it or not. She is the pioneer. And unfortunately, she passed last year to COVID-related issues. But she lived a longer and like beautiful quality of life. It was almost, I want to say almost completely seizure-free for years. And she's the reason we're here talking about it. So Charlotte Fiji, thank you. It's pretty incredible. And now, all these years later, we're learning how well it works for our animals. And luckily, there's even research on it, and there's new research coming out. Share this screen here. If you want to start talking, Carter.
Yeah, so we currently have quite a few reputable studies, two specifically that were done on canines. One at CSU with Stephanie McGrath and her team there at Colorado State University, which was kind of one of the pivotal first studies that was done on dogs to see how the effects of CBD on epilepsy worked. There's another one that we have from Japan, and there's just more and more of this coming out. Another study that's going to be coming out from CSU later this year that they've already announced that is studying kind of the different, getting more into the specifics of dosing for CBD. So that's coming up. These two that we have up here on the screen now are kind of two of the pivotal ones that I mentioned. One at CSU and one in Japan, showing that McGrath found that 89% of dogs who received CBD in the clinical trial had a reduction in the frequency of seizures, which is fantastic because when we look at a drug like phenobarbital, it's considered effective if 50% of reduction occurs. So, this is it's already doing so well. And these studies are limited, but growing quite quickly and showing such promising results.
Yeah, and of course, we want to see more studies, and I can't wait to see more studies. But I'm at the point where we know,
Yeah.
there are thousands and thousands and thousands of stories. So I'm happy to have the research, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to take a photo to show you guys something. We know that it works because so many people and so many animals, thousands, have had success. So I'm happy to have research, but it is not the be all end all for me here at all.
Sure. But also we have the safety, we have the knowledge that it is safe, that unlike some of the other traditional therapies that are really kind of taxing on the liver, that have a whole bunch of other negative side effects, there are really very, very few, if any, side effects to this stuff. So worst case scenario, you've helped your dog's joint problems, anxiety, help their immune system be more balanced. Even if your seizures are not reduced, this dog has a better quality of life, and their feeling better should affect their seizure activity as well.
Absolutely. And one of the ways that CBD helps, and this one is just crazy. This is the patent that the United States government owns since 2003, showing CBD as an antioxidant and as a neuroprotectant. So since 2003, they have known that it can protect the brain from things like seizures, from these neurological disorders. And just, it's hilarious that in 2003, they knew this so much to get a patent, yet they still had CBD scheduled as a Schedule 1 drug, meaning it has no medicinal value. How?
Yeah, right. Well, it's totally backwards. I mean, THC, marijuana, is still a Schedule 1 drug, and yet we have so much research that shows that it is cardioprotective, that it kills cancer cells, that it is great for neurodegenerative diseases. Like, to say that it has no medicinal value and characterize it with other drugs like heroin and cocaine, like, that's who else, those are the other players up in the Schedule 1 class. It's just, it really kind of corroborates the, like, well, something else is going on here. There are other players in here. There's a reason why this is illegal. And I'm not going to get too deep into these conspiracies, because I will go there and it will heat me up, and I'm not trying to get heated on a Friday night. I'm trying to cool down.
Susan McPherson just asked, does heal help with pain issues as well? Absolutely. So ease that frankincense and turmeric can do a lot, but it's been used as a pain reliever for thousands of years, for sure.
Yeah. So the kind of the ways that CBD helps in the brain, like Hernando mentioned, and what they patented on in 2003 with that, the neuroprotective qualities of CBD, that it stops the degradation of the neurons in the brains. It stops them from breaking down and getting injured. So but it's also been found to be neuroregenerative. So when we were talking about issues where you've had some sort of traumatic brain injury, where you've had different things happen that can injure the brain tissue, CBD has also been shown to actually be able to repair those connections and create new connection between neurons in the brain. So, you can have a dog, like when we're talking about Daisy there, who at the beginning, where she was disoriented, she's going into canine cognitive dysfunction, we can actually there's the potential to bring them back from that, which is kind of crazy to think about. The other thing is the antioxidant properties of CBD. So basically what that means is that CBD attracts what are called free radicals in the blood and in the body. And free radicals are like rowdy teenagers in a city where they're just like bounding around and like smashing mailboxes and like banging into stuff and breaking things. And CBD just kind of like grabs them and is like, where is your mother? And takes them home and expels them out of the body so that they don't go around breaking stuff, causing damage that can then lead to neurodegenerative diseases and seizures. Do you like my little analogy?
Literally why I always ask you to explain things to me, because I'm I learn differently from other people, and like I can't always just read something and understand it. So I'm like, Carter, break it down. And then he says things like, where's your mother? And I'm like, I got it.
Where's your mother? Where's your mother, free radical? You're a little too radical.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's studies. There are anecdotal evidence. There's anecdotal evidence. There's a freaking patent. There, um, so much to prove that this is absolutely an option to help seizure disorders or epilepsy. Um, I do want to stress the fact that not all CBD products are created equal. I'm not here to say that we're the only ones doing it right, because we're not, but there are a lot of people doing it wrong. And studies actually have also shown, for just about everything, but in seizure specifically, the importance of the entourage effect, meaning the importance of not just CBD, but all those other cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids that work together to create this neuroprotectant property. So not because the problem is when you take out the other cannabinoids and terpenes, CBD in its own can create side effects, right? But THC and CBG and CBN, these terpenes, they all work together to make sure that we are side effect free and that it works overall. So specifically with seizures, I mean, I always say full spectrum for sure, and that is just been proven in research over and over again. But specifically in seizures, it has shown the importance of whole plant medicine, which then leads us to the one FDA approved cannabis CBD drug called Epidiolex. And Epidiolex is for human use only, but can be given to animals. And it is a CBD isolate, meaning they have taken out all the other cannabinoids, they've taken out all the terpenes, they've taken everything out. And it can help. It's just not as effective, and that's just been proven, and can cause side effects because we don't have these other cannabinoids. They also kind of trademark the word CBD. So, a lot of people are talking about CBD. People are like, the medicine or no. The whole plant medicine is what we're talking about. So we have to differentiate a lot of the difference between whole plant medicine, CBD, and Epidiolex CBD, which has helped a lot of people. So,
yeah, I mean, this is just the pharmaceutical industry doing what they do best, and that is, isolating compounds that do one thing so that they can go, okay, you're going to take this much and it's going to do this little specific thing right there, and that's it. Yeah. And that's what most of those drugs do. And unfortunately, it's kind of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with whole plant medicine, because it is innately many different compounds working together, and that's the strength of it. It's like somebody used this analogy this week with me. It's like if you had a symphony and you were to just take the piccolo section, like it's not going to sound as good as if you have the whole band playing together to make the best music.
Yeah, very true. And the future of cannabis, I probably say this every time I'm live, but the future of cannabis is that we're going to be so specific to what ratio of what cannabinoid works for seizure disorders, for this cancer, for anxiety. So like if you try our Heal tincture and you're not seeing enough of a difference, it doesn't mean that your dog's not going to respond to CBD. There just might be another ratio that's better, right? So don't give up right away. It's also about finding the dose, which is super important that we should talk about a little bit. Dosing is such a controversial subject because we're so used to being able to have like exact, this is how much you take, this is how much you weigh, this is what it is, this is what you take. And it just doesn't work that way with cannabis medicine. It's all specific to your animal's needs. It's a little bit of trial and error to find what works best. Dr. Zach says start slow and increase until we find what works. Other people say, like Angie, if there's a dog who's suffering from a seizure or is in pain, she doses them hard because she just wants to take the pain away, which I also understand. We have found through our experience that somewhere around that 35 milligram daily is a great place to start. That's just in our experience.
And that's a benchmark that your dog may need less or more depending on such a number of factors, including how they metabolize it. Like we were saying earlier, the density of receptors in their body can change over time. So you may have something that works for a dog when they're younger, that when they're older, they may need less, they may need more, just based on how their body chemistry has changed over time. So it really does kind of ask that we take our pet's health into our own hands, that we use resources and use people who really understand it, veterinarians who are on board and get it. But then know that, number one, we can't do harm with this. We're not going to hurt them by giving them CBD. We can feel confident to experiment, and that we know our pets best.
Yeah.
If my dog is getting better and I think that it's working and I think I can keep using a little bit more, do that. If you're like, he's a little bit sedated and I'm not seeing any more relief from seizures, pull it back a little bit. Keep experimenting.
Yeah. And it's something specific for something like seizures is the importance of keeping that CBD in their bloodstream, right? So
Absolutely.
if we're keeping it, if their daily dose is 35 milligrams, the problem of just giving them that one 35 milligram dose is that within 8 hours, it's not in their bloodstream anymore. So breaking up that dose into micro doses throughout the day. If all you can do is morning and night, great, we'll take it. If you're around and can do it every 6 to 8 hours, even better. Track that. See if your dog is in pain, let's say, and you see that it holds them over for 6 hours before they're in pain again. Well, then, every 6 hours, let's dose them.
Yeah.
Keep a journal on hand, track what you're doing, write what works, what doesn't work, and adjust accordingly.
Julie asks about her friend in Canada who was having some success with her dog, her corgi, who was having seizures, but then it stopped working. She shared our site with them, wondering if we ship to Canada. We specifically do not, but one of our retail partners, the CBD dispensary shop, they do. We'll link that here in the comments so that you can get our products in Canada as well. Because I know we got a lot of Canucks out there. I am also from Canada.
Julie, send us, if you can find out what the product is that they're using. I would just love to see what they're using and what their COA says, so we can see if there's a big difference. I bet you there is. But yeah. The other thing about dosing and administering is administering on the gums, so it goes straight into the bloodstream is best, especially when we're dealing with something like seizures. We want to get in the bloodstream right away. So if you're putting it in the food and stuff, it's going to take like 45 minutes as opposed to almost immediately, 10, 15 minutes. And also when you ingest CBD, some of it gets lost in the digestive system, and we want to make sure that they have as much of it in their bloodstream as possible.
Yeah.
Sylvia says, "Hey, Carter."
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia. She's like, "I don't know you."
Like I don't know her. I don't know her. Yeah.
That's our CBD spiel for seizures and epilepsy.
Yeah.
Did you want to mention a little bit about pheno?
I mean, we don't really have to talk about phenobarbital. There's not a whole lot to say. I mean, the one thing that I found really interesting when I was researching about phenobarbital and CBD is one of the things that people always say about CBD is like, well, is it approved? Like, is this an FDA approved thing for dogs, and do vets recommend it? And then when I was looking, I read that phenobarbital is not approved for use in dogs. And yet it is the most commonly prescribed anti-epileptic for dogs. We hold cannabis to such a high standard that we would never ask of these pharmaceutical drugs that constantly are listing immense amounts of damage to the liver and kidneys in the way that they're processed. Phenobarbital specifically is known to cause serious neurological damage because it just basically turns down the electrical impulses in your pet's brain instead of doing something about it. And yet, we hold cannabis to this insane standard. We would never ask GW Pharma to present a certificate of analysis for what they do. We never ask them what is in these drugs, how they ensured that it was safe. And the safety studies that they present are for 3 months when they have dogs on these drugs for 10 years. It's like, there's this double standard that here I am preaching again. Hernando, stop me. I'm like up on my little pedestal about, anyway.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I just think that when it comes to like whole plant medicine and maybe for pharmaceuticals, there is a healthy spot in the middle. There is purpose for both of them.
Yes.
Dr. Zach talks about that a lot. Sometimes whole plant medicine, a lot of times whole plant medicine will work for a large number of people and animals, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we need something a little stronger. You know, there's always factors in the decision. I always think, though, if there is an alternative option that isn't going to cause any other problems, let's go there first.
Yeah, we shouldn't be. I'm speaking for myself now, but my philosophy is like we shouldn't be using intervention as long-term treatment and long-term preventative medicine. You know, these practices, like they are meant to be short-term, hard, like take a turn, get out of the woods quickly, and yet we use them ongoingly for so long, which is when they start to really present these problems.
Yeah. Let's always try to, if we can find the source of the problem and see what we can do with food medicine, let's go there first. And then, you know, we can use the medication as a temporary situation to help these immediate needs. But yeah, finding the source of the problem and fixing it with food and whole plant medicine, I think I've seen now how incredible it works specifically in dogs. So
yeah. Angie asks, is CBD more effective in raw fed dogs versus kibble fed? Is there any research to support this?
There's no research, Amy, but again, the CBD and cannabis helps overall homeostasis, right? And raw food is also supporting their system the way it needs to be. So working synergistically, it just, yes, you know, Billy from Answers Pet Food is the nutritional. What is he now? Vice president now, I think. He always says, you know, he doesn't use supplements for his dog Lua. He only uses food, and he gives Lua CBD every single day, his dog, because it is food. It is plant food. They work together. So, you know, there's no research to support it yet, but two things that are better working together, you know. And we always tell people, like, CBD can do so much, but if you're feeding your dog the crappiest kibble on the market that's causing all this inflammation and all these problems to begin with, it has more to fight against. So using something that's going to help their body so that CBD can help it even further is the way to go.
Absolutely. And, you know, we really promote a holistic approach to health and wellness. And what that is, in essence, is looking at the animal, looking at the person as an entire being, not just the symptom, not just the ailment. How is their gut health? How is their mood? How is their environment? How is their energy being affected by everything that is going on in their world? What is their genetic predisposition? Really looking at the whole picture instead of one isolated, narrow thing. And, you know, what we know is that nutrition is so central to the flow of energy, to the disease process, to the way that our animals age and respond to trauma. Yeah. So, you know, a well-fed dog, a well-nourished dog is just going to be so much more resilient and the body will be more able to access its innate healing abilities than one that is off kilter, off balance. It's kind of like if you're already hopping on one foot and something comes to knock you down, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of food, I was going over Answers. Answers Pet Food is our favorite raw company. Their integrity, their products, everything is so beautiful. It's better than what we eat every single day. And they have a protocol for epilepsy. They recommend a keto diet, so high fat, moderate protein, and low carbs. Cutting these carbs helps because the carbs are pro-inflammatory, and we want to cut down as much inflammation as possible. And then they said processed foods with synthetic vitamins, preservatives, and contaminants can trigger seizures. So something to look at. If you go to Answers website, they have protocols for everything. I think I could actually share with you guys their protocol specifically for seizures, what they're recommending. But you can find this all on their website as well. We don't make any money or get any benefits from telling you guys about Answers, but we know, our mission is to help animals, and we know how important this is, not only for the CBD to work better, but just for overall health.
Yeah, and love Answers.
Yeah, exactly. So check out Answers Pet Food. We love them. We love them. We love them. We love them. I see some questions, maybe. I saw one earlier.
Oh, somebody asked if she can use all 3 tinctures at once.
Okay, there it is. Yes, you can. You don't need to. The CBD is what's doing the bulk of the work. Calm and Ease have those added essential oils. What you want to do, if you want a high potency like Heal, but want the essential oils of Ease, is go to the horse tincture, which is much more potent in CBD, but still has the frankincense and turmeric, the Ease. That way you're kind of getting the benefit of a little bit of everything. So
that being said, though, like if I have found a big difference in, like, for instance, the way that Calm works in situational anxiety. Like if you've got a dog who's anxious sometimes, but you want them on the daily dose of Heal, like it can really make a big difference to be using that. And then I was talking to a woman this week. Her name was Sandra, and Sandra was telling me, like, when she started adding Ease into her dog's regimen for hip dysplasia and arthritis, it like totally upped the game from when she was just using Heal. So there, I don't know. I use them all, and I think it's really just about.
It can absolutely. There's benefits of all of them. You don't have to. You absolutely can. Hill Science killed my dog because of the recalls. I won't ever do that again. Yes, if you are watching that, go online at what's it called? Truthaboutpetfood.com.
Pet Food, the documentary,
and you can learn a lot about these crazy stories that's happened. I'm so sorry, Susan, that happened. The amount of recalls that Hill Science Site has had is.
The priority is not animals' health. So that's clear in the way that they work and the way that they manufacture and the ingredients that they source. It's all about the quality of the ingredients and the intention behind the company.
Exactly. Susan says, so the horse tincture has the Ease in it as well. So the horse Ease is more potent than the dog Heal, but then has the turmeric and frankincense. So you're getting the benefit of all of them together.
Yeah, so you're getting like as much, more CBD than dog Heal plus turmeric and frankincense. Whereas dog Ease is less CBD, but it has turmeric and frankincense.
Julie, do me a favor. I don't know that company. I do want to research them though. Shoot me an email and I'll write it here for you. Am I going to regret putting my email here? We'll find out. Shoot me an email, Julie, and we can. I'll see what it is and send you an email. But just shoot me an email to remind me to look at them. Awesome. Petfoodcom. Great. I'll take a look at Julie and let you know as soon as I see their COA. Cool. That was an hour.
That was a whole hour. I mean, it's a big topic.
It is a big topic.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. I mean, I've seen this we've seen this like that. On our rescue farm, I've seen animals come in with all sorts of seizures, and the quality of life afterwards is pretty incredible. There's research, there's stories all over the world for humans, for animals. It's an amazing, amazing alternative. And we're just like here to teach people and here to educate on the possibilities, the endless possibilities. Because we love dogs and we love cannabis.
True.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We're going to post one more time the link for the giveaway.
Giveaway. Wait, I didn't get to use my things at all. I didn't use sound effects the whole time.
We will be taking these emails until Monday for the giveaway. If you please share this video, share it, share all the information you learn with your friends who have animals. Share this video, share our page. You guys, the CBD industry, we have to fight against so much to get out to you guys. You actually have no idea the crazy restrictions we're on. So you guys talking about it and you guys sharing it and you guys telling your friends is what helps us help dogs all over the world. So we appreciate you guys so much. And thank you for coming, Susan. I love that you all of you, Anne-Marie, Sylvia, Julie, all of our friends.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and coming back and chatting with us. We appreciate it.
Yay! Next week, we're going to have Angie back with Carter talking about cancer. There is an amazing new study that came out
just last year.
CBD for canine cancer with some amazing results. So Carter and Angie will be here next week to chat about.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Cool. Sounds good. Well, have a great weekend, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Take care. It ends.
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, God.